来拿翻译耳机，谢谢。
Okay, sorry for the delay. So hi everyone, I'm Dr. Yacheng Fan. So thank you, Surgeon Liu, for introducing me. So as he mentioned, I am a clinical psychologist and also an academic researcher in the university. So today, it is very glad to know that mental health is a major focus of Rotary International this year. So this is a pleasure for me to be standing here and talking to you about the issue about like mental health and all the data about that, all the facts to help to like raising the awareness of mental health issues. So let me see. Okay. Okay, so you can see my slide now. Sorry, it cannot present like fully, so we need to use this format. So I want to talk about this first. It's like we know we all have physical health. So could you like raise your hand up if you have ever had a like headache? Headache, right? Okay, everyone should have that, right? Okay. Or have you ever cut your finger? Okay, like broke your bones? Or like have hypertension or diabetes. Yeah, okay, some of you have that, right? And we go to the doctors or seek a lot of different help. For example, you take medicine, you do some wrapping, you scan your brain, you do all the examinations. So we seek help when we have physical problem. And how about when we feel like mentally unwell? Do you seek help when you feel lonely, when you feel unhappy? When you feel depressed, when you feel anxious, do you seek help? That is my questions here to that everyone think. And we know like we have emotions like angry, anxious, depressed, stressed, lonely. These are the negative emotions. We also have that positive emotion like happy, excited, and calm, satisfied. So these are the emotions actually we experience every day. We probably don't pay too much attention on them because they just come and go. But they are part of our mental health. According to the definition of American Psychology Association, mental health has some characteristics. First, emotional well-being. Second, good behavior adjustment and related freedom from anxiety and disabling symptoms, and a capacity to establish constructive relationship and cope with the original demands and stress of life. Okay, so I just talked like 5 points. So actually, mental health consists of a lot of things. And these things, we have to be like all good to have a good mental health condition. So mental health is on the spectrum who can range from good to poor. And it is like physical health. Everyone has mental health. And there is no health without mental health. So when your mental health is poor, mental disorder may develop. So mental disorder is characteristic by a clinically significant disturbance in an individual's cognition, emotional regulation, and behavior. For example, depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety disorder, schizophrenia, and ADHD. So here, they are like common psychological disorder that some people may have. I also put a percentage here. That is the point prevalence of each disorder. That means the proportion of population has this disorder at this specific point of time. So the past 12-month prevalence and the lifetime prevalence, the number will be much higher. And mental disorder actually influences us like in all the aspects in life. For example, if someone has depression, they will feel very depressed. They don't have the energy to do the activities they used to do. They lack of interest in their use habit. So it will influence, they don't, for example, they don't go to work, they don't go to school, their relationship with families and friends will also be influenced. So actually, mental disorder influence like everyone. So you can see the number here. Right now in the world, there are 3.8% people has depression, 0.5 has bipolar, 4% of people has anxiety disorder, and 0.3 with schizophrenia, and around 1% with ADHD. So although these are just small numbers, but think about like when you're adding up all the numbers for people with like any one of the mental disorder, guess how many people in the world has mental disorder? Yeah, have your guess, and I'll reveal the answer. The answer is 970 million people. That is equal to 1 in every 8 people around the world has mental disorder now. Okay, I don't know, do you feel surprised about the number? So when I was in college, like sitting in abnormal psychology class, so abnormal psychology class is like the class about mental disorder. At that time, no one revealed that they have or had mental disorder. But right now, I am in a university teaching abnormal psychology. I have 23 students in my class, and 3 of them reveal that they have mental disorder. So actually, the number I got is very similar to like 1 in every 8 people in the world. Okay, but this could be due to the awareness of mental disorder is higher than before. And so things get worse when it was in COVID pandemic. So an increase of 28% and 26% for depression and anxiety disorder, respectively, increased in just 1 year. And in addition to that, words affect mental disorder. Like even just exposed to the image, audio, or videos of words will have negative impact on your mental health. So actually the mental health situation in the world is worse and worse. So right now I use a lot of data to tell you, okay, this is a serious problem now. We have to do some action. We have to make what we can do what we can do. So for people who probably has mental disorder now, I just want to tell you that you are not alone, because people are aware of this problem, and seeking help and support is a key to recovery. And following up, I'm going to talk a bit more about the other consequences of mental disorder that is related to everyone. So here you can see the graph. So that is the total disease burden by case, and the survey is done in 2019. So the burden here means disability and also premature death. So premature death means that death before the average age. Okay, so the global burden rank you can see. The first one is cardiovascular disease. The second is cancer. So they are the two, like on the top, that cause a global burden. And mental disorder is the 7th leading cause of burden in the world. Does that surprise you? Because like you probably think, okay, mental disorder is not a big deal, but actually it is the 7th on this board to cause a global burden. And depression and anxiety disorder is a top 2. Following mental disorder is like diabetes, kidney disease, and respiratory disease. So also there are economic consequences for mental disorder and thus burden. So the loss in economic productivity in 2010 is US dollar 1.7 trillion, and direct cost of care is 0.8 trillion US dollar. That is huge, right? And that was in 2010. So the estimated number in 2030 is 6 trillion to the cost due to mental disorder, alongside the increased social cost. And this number actually is more than the cost of cancer, diabetes, and chronic respiratory disease combined together. So you see that the problem actually will be even worse when the time goes by. And the more important thing is you may lose your loved one. So I'm talking about suicide. More than one people, like in 100, die because of a suicide in a year. That is more than 700,000 people died by suicide in 2019. And suicide is the fourth leading cause of death among people between 15 to 29 years old, and is a 17th leading cause among all the age range worldwide. 77% of suicide occur in low and middle income countries. And also suicide also linked to psychological mental disorder. So 2/3 of people who attempt suicide have a history of psychological disorder, and 6 to 8% of people with depression, bipolar, or schizophrenia die from suicide. So we can predict that if we can enhance, if we can improve the situation of mental health, then the suicide rate will also decrease. Actually, it is also the goal of WHO. They aim to reduce 1/3 of suicide by 2030. However, right now, the awareness and support of mental disorder are still insufficient. So among the world, only 2% of the health budget is allocated to mental health. And among all the health research, only 2.6% is doing mental health related research. And the situation is even worse in the low income countries, only 2.7%. Better in the high income country, like 8% of the health research budget goes to mental health. So this will lead to a lot of people with mental disorder are untreated. Like 71% of people with psychosis do not receive mental health services, even this is a serious disease and need attention. With all the problem, and there is another problem, is around stigma for mental disorder. And that probably is one of the barriers to demand for social and mental health care. So the society has some stereotype about mental disorder. For example, you may think people with mental disorder are intelligent, weak, lazy, difficult, violent, or even dangerous. So these are how people look at people with mental disorders. And these are not true, right? You probably can kind of feel, okay, this is not true, but it will have a lot of consequences because of these stigmas. So I'm going to talk a bit about mental disorder. So we know it is a real disorder that is like your diabetes, your hypertension, or you get the flu. They are all real disorder. And they develop because a lot of factors that are hard to control. The first one, genetic factor. So you get depression probably because there is a gene related to depression in your family. So that is like when you get your diabetes, probably your family also have diabetes. And there is also like neurological factors that include the abnormalities in your brain function, your brain network, and also the dysregulation of neurotransmitter. There is social cultural factors like the country you live, it is high income or low income countries, and also your social economic status or the social norm or the stress in the society will influence whether you get depression or other disease or not. We also got like cognitive behavior factor, that is psychological factor, that how you think, how do you do actions, also links to mental disorder. So right now you can understand that there are so many factors that is hard to control. You cannot control that. And so people also need to understand it, that mental disorder is not someone's fault. It is just like a lot of different factors that adding up together, so you get this disease. So the consequences of stereotype or stigma could be huge. So for example, if you live in the society that think people get mental disorder because they are lazy or because they are intelligent, anything. So the consequences, one is treatment avoidance. So people may not seek treatment because of a stigma. It will have the consequences like worsening symptoms, delayed treatment, and increased risk of suicide. Also, if people are developing the disease and because of a stigma, they may want to hide the disease because they don't want other people to know they have it and have judgment about their symptoms or disease. The second, stigma also causes psychological stress that will have negative impact on recovery and quality of life. And the third consequence is healthcare inequality. So prejudice may cause people get unequal treatment, and that then be more difficult in getting the medical care and support. So we need to transform the mental health situation, and it needs the whole society to help. And what I mean whole society, actually that includes you, right? You are part of our society. And you may think, okay, I'm not a policy maker. How do I help? So I'm going to talk about this from the individual level. So as an individual level, okay, language matters. We all have bias, but you need to be aware that whether your speech, whether your talk involves some stereotype or stigma about mental disorder, because like language will shape the thoughts and it will pass down to the next generation. So language is very important, language matters. And the second things you can do is to provide support to people with mental disorder that involve like active listening and encourage them to seek help. And the third one is to share stories. So if you have mental disorder or the person you are close to have mental disorder, like be open to that. Share the story, share the personal experience. That will help to humanize mental health issue. So study also found that for people who has contact with people with mental disorder, their stigma actually reduce. So contact and familiarity is a key to reduce the stigma in the individual level. And in community and institution, you can also promote like supporting environment. For example, to have like a place that can openly discuss mental disorder without any like fear or judgment. And also employers can provide like a good supported workplace culture that value mental health and mental disorder and provide the needed resources for all the employees. Also, like your donations can go to educations and programs that are aimed to increase the awareness of mental disorder, that also talk about the reality, the knowledge of mental disorder. And that will increase the understanding and empathy. And also like you yourself can participate or advocate some anti-stigma program that will reduce stigma and discrimination. So that will all be like helpful for the whole society. And now moving on to the policy level, you are not a policymaker, but your vote has power, right? So support the policymaker who care about mental health issues, who are trying to establish the anti-discrimination law. It will also be helpful. And encourage responsible and balanced reporting. So for some media, have a balance and a justice way to report about mental disorder is also important, like in television, in TV show, in movies, in books. And also promote access to care for everyone. That include that affordable and readily available services. And also like the self-health care provider also need the training that target culture sensitive and provide a stigma-free care. So I have been like talked through all the actions from individual, from communities, from policy. I don't know like how many items do you think like, yes, I can do that from today. Yeah, I hope you have some kind of ideas about that. So reducing stigma and improve mental health care is an ongoing process. Like step by step, you will get that. So we need the whole society help. By fostering this like more understanding and inclusive society, we can help individuals with mental disorder receive the support and respect they deserve. So I want to emphasize again, transforming mental health needs the whole society. That includes you. Be the person that supports people, and be the person that make others feel they are not alone in struggling the disease. So I hope this is the message that you'll take home from today and take action from now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A warm round of applause for Dr. Fong. Thank you very much for bringing us such informative talks. Again, we appreciate the two very informative talks brought by Dr. Yan Xu Chen and Dr. Ya Qun Fong from the National Sun Yat-sen University. And also, we would like to thank past District Governor City for providing excellent simultaneous interpretation to facilitate the meeting. Now we will have another 10 minutes break. Please return for AKS induction ceremony at 5 after 11. 5 after 11 for the AKS induction ceremony. Thank you.